If you have a strange or scary story you'd like to share with the podcast/channel, go to astheravendreams.com and click the button to send it my way, or email it to me at astheravendreams@gmail.com. And thank you. Hello, Raven. Love the podcast. Thank you. Myself and my partner have been debating sending this in for a while now, but I have the time to spare right now, so here goes. We live on a tiny island in the Irish Sea, 13 miles wide by 33 miles long, so tiny. It's a place shrouded in folklore and magic, and tales of giants, fairies, and fantastic creatures are woven throughout our island's history. And I, for one, love living here. This, however, is not a tale of magic or beasts, more a tale of pure confusion that to this day still has us scratching our heads. We own a camper van. It started off life as a tradesman's work van, and over the years we've done it up together, putting solar panels up, fully built-in bed and fridge inside, little touches here and there to make it a full-on home away from home when we're camping out. Anyway, there's a place at the northernmost tip of the island that we would camp very regularly. We love it there, vast open seas, a beautiful pebbly beach, wildlife, and birds to watch whilst we relax in the quiet of nature. We often see the odd dog walking, dolphins, and seals. A few other camps there too, but always far enough away as to not bother the others. Not far from where we camp, about an hour's walk away, there's a more inland area where permits were essential for camping, and you can express interest to the government about getting one, and they'll review your application and see one if they see fit. We applied a few years ago, just as somewhere else to go for a change of scenery. We were sent a permit and were excited at the fact that we could now, if we wanted, wild camp at this idyllic spot. We decided one afternoon to drive to the spot and have a little look around, scope the area and find a cute little area to camp at some point. Like I say, our island is so small that having lived here all our lives, there's not many places we don't know, or haven't been as children or explored on our own since being grown-ups, with a camper. We're both mid-40s now. Okay, so we decide to drive up to the Airs, the name for the spot that we received the permit for. Think naturally formed little camping spots, quite spread out from each other, lush green grass in places and more sand dunes and mounds in others. Motorhomes and campers dotted the area here and there, but no one bothering anyone else, and room enough between making this so, rather easily. You get to this area by driving down a very long straight road almost to the sea, but the area opens out before you actually reach the sea. Where we normally camp, we're right on the beach, but this area requires a short walk to the sea once you've found your spot. So back to the story. We decided one day to take a drive out to the Airs, and scope out, like I said. From our home to said spot takes about 40 minutes to get to, over the one and only mountain on the island. So we arrive at the top of the long road to take us to the camping area. We turn down and begin heading down the tree-lined track, seeing the area sprawl out ahead of us right the way down to the sea. We get about halfway down the track, and before we hit the end where the road opens up to the left, where the camping area really opens out, we come across a smaller area with lots of trees and an open gate on the left of the road that we are on. So, out of curiosity, we turn into said area. We park the van up and get out for a look around. The area was almost circular, surrounded by large trees, and there was one continuous loop that you could drive around to come back the same way that you'd come in. A large raised mound in the center that the track went around, and thick trees all around the outside. I will add that the day was glorious sunshine, but in this area it was darker and quiet. We didn't think much of it as we walked around looking for a suitable place that we could camp in the future. Like I said, this area was small from on top of the center mound. It was maybe 5 meters across, and the track around it was just that, a track. And if we camped on it, we would block any other vehicle from getting out should they drive in after us. It was a cute spot. Trees, quiet, off the beaten track. But it didn't seem very practical from a not being selfish to other campers' point of view. So we carried on, wandering about amongst the trees and bracken, and decided to just carry on to the actual camping area. We couldn't work out the relevance of the area with the mound. It wasn't leading anywhere. There was no need for a turning spot as it was tucked away off the main straight road, but who were we to judge its reasons for being there? We got back in the van and carried on, but never came to the area that we were originally looking for. It was nowhere. It should have been straight down this road. The road only went to this spot, highly signed as an area of natural beauty and a place to camp. By this time, we were tired, and as this was just a reconnaissance type outing, we decided to head home and come look another time, laughing that maybe the area we were at was it. The small clearing with the mound was all there was. We knew this not to be true, but we were baffled as to how we had gone so wrong on a road that only leads one way. We thought maybe we'd missed an opening in the mound area that led out to the full-on wild camping ground. But we walked the whole thing, looking through trees, standing on the mound for a better view, searching everywhere. Nothing. So we reluctantly drove home, saying that we must have made a wrong turn and that we would return another day, giving us more time to find exactly where we needed to be. It was a few months later when we returned to the area. We turned onto the long road headed down to the sea and expected to have the chance to go look around the mound area again. But on traveling down the road this time, we drove slow, looking to the left, waiting to see the tree-covered clearing with the gate, with the circled track and mound. But it never appeared. We drove straight down the road, veered around to the left, and lo and behold, the landscape opened out to the large area that I spoke of earlier. The naturally formed little camping spots amongst the green grass and sandy dune areas. All under a huge open sky, mountain to one side of your view and the sea to the other. We were stunned. This is the spot we looked for the first visit. But this was not here that time. We drove straight to it. It was simple, off the main road. Drive straight down and here we are. It couldn't have been easier. We drove about a little, saw people parking up, having a great time in the sun, flying kites, making food, enjoying the day. So we just thought that last time, for whatever reason, we'd missed it. How? We weren't sure, but we put it down to it being our mistake. On finally finding the area and how easy it was to actually find the area, we stayed a while and then decided to head home. Satisfied we knew where to camp out next time we visited. We discussed the tree area on the way back up the long road and drove so slowly as to find it again. We looked right all the way up, as we were coming from the opposite direction. Nothing. Not even a break in the hedgerow for a vehicle to turn into. No gate in the hedge growth. Nothing all the way up until we got back onto the main road. It was straight all the way up. We even drove back down again once we got to the top, convinced that we had missed something, but no. We ended back down at the bottom at the camping ground type area. To this day, we've been up there many, many times, and never ever again have we found the tree-lined mound area. We were there. We walked around it. We talked about how cute it was. We commented that maybe this is it, as we didn't find the real place the first time. I felt the darkness from the tree that blocked out the sun on that glorious day. But we never have found that place since. I'm not sure what to put it down to, but I know that I'm not crazy, as my partner was with me. We both had this experience, and we still talk about it now. Anyway, we still wild camp, but have never had anything like that happen before or since. Thanks for taking the time to read this, and thank you for your podcast. We love it. Signed, Rebecca and Andrew. Hello, Raven. I would like to say thank you for taking the time to read this, and I hope that this story makes the podcast. It did. So, I would like to start off by describing my house layout and a little about me. I'm 19 and I live in Aberdeen, Scotland. I still live with my parents. They're divorced, so I stay at both houses on a rotation type thing. But this story takes place at my dad's house. My dad's house has 3 floors because the loft got turned into a bedroom when I was little. And that was my parents' bedroom before they got divorced, and still is my dad's bedroom to this day. I won't get into the detail of the bottom floor because it has no relevance. But the middle floor is where my room is, along with the bathroom and spare bedroom. So if you enter the front door, the stairs leading up are to your left, and right at the top is the bathroom. The right's my bedroom, and then next to my bedroom is the spare. Imagine it like an L shape, the bathroom being on the bottom, and the 2 rooms being on the longer bit. Then, along from the 2 rooms, imagine the top of the L, and to the right is the stairs leading up to my dad's bedroom. The story takes place at around 4:15 a.m. I was up late, rewatching Stranger Things because of the new season that's releasing later this year, and I hear my dad get up and walk down the stairs and into the toilet, which isn't unusual. This is the time that I should mention the house has very distinct creaks in the floor. And since this is the house I've lived in for all 19 years of my life, I've memorized them pretty well. From the creaks of my dad's bedroom floor, to the creaking on the stairs, and finally the creaking of the corridor leading past both bedrooms into the toilet. Well, I don't know why, but I paused the episode that I was watching to just listen. Nothing felt off necessarily, but I don't know. It's just one of those things you do and don't know why you did it. I could hear my dad sniffing. He had a blocked nose at this point, so I'm pretty sure he was just a little ill. And since the bathroom is literally right next to my bedroom, I could hear it clearly. So I was just lying there listening when I heard one last sniff coming from the bathroom, and then all of a sudden, I heard the floorboards creaking from upstairs, and my dad climbing into bed, which makes even more floorboards creak. I was a little confused, because normally I would hear him walking back, not just the floors like his first few steps, since he's so close to my door that I can hear them, accompanied by the floorboards and then the stairs and finally his bedroom floorboards. But after that one sniff, which I swear happened in the bathroom, and or just outside my room, and not even a second later I heard the upstairs bedroom floorboards. I should say that me and my dad are the only ones who stay in the house at the time of this writing, so there's no one else that could have made the floorboards creak or sniff. It was undoubtedly my dad. It's just I don't know how he got up to the bedrooms so fast. If he ran up, which he had no reason to do, it would make a lot of noise. And there are a few unavoidable creaks, so if he tried for whatever reason to intentionally avoid them, I would at least hear the corridor one or a certain one on the stairs. Not to mention I didn't hear him walking, just that sniffle in the bathroom, then the creak of the upstairs floorboards. So, did my dad teleport upstairs? Was there some sort of little time glitch where I missed the part of him going up the stairs? I don't know what to think of this situation. It's very minor in comparison to some of the other stories, which are all amazing by the way. I love each and every one of them. But I just wanted to share this story because it's the first glitch-like experience that I've ever had. Okay, Raven. I wrote you last week or so, and I was bemoaning my glitch-free life. And I wrote some admittedly lame sort of software glitch, and although true, this one precedes that one by quite a bit. I once worked in a print shop for 10 years or so, and partway through my tenure there, we had a new person join our little gang of misfits. I'm going to use a fake name because of what happened afterwards. This new coworker was the exact opposite of me. I'm kind of a boring, straight-laced guy, and in contrast, Paul was a not-so-much recovering alcoholic and a big pothead. But I guess I have a sort of soft spot for flattery, and he would laugh at my jokes, so we got along. His sense of humor was not quite sophisticated as mine. Seemingly every day, or at least whenever he got the chance at 420, every freaking time, he would say, "Hey, it's 420, haha." This was supposed to be funny because I seem to remember that 420 was the police code for marijuana. Hilarious. Anyway, time moved on and eventually I moved jobs and we lost touch. Except for a brief period when my old boss asked me in to help him out to work on some stuff. He even had some work for my sister, who could use the extra cash, and it wasn't difficult work or technically involved. During that time, I was tasked to pick up Paul at the courthouse. This was actually the first day back at the old job, first thing. I got the heads up from another coworker that Paul wasn't the same. He'd gone through his fair share of stuff and things took their toll on them. Paul kind of shambled his way into my car, and he croaked out a few words. This was a very different Paul that met me that day. He was no longer the happy-go-lucky pothead that I had known. He was like a light bulb on a dimmer that had gone from 100% when I first knew and worked with him, down to maybe 30%. I gauged as I drove him back to the shop. Now, I should say that Paul didn't drive. He rode his 10-speed to work, only maybe 4 blocks away. Long story short, we did our work and I moved on to my job, going from part-time to full-time, and then I got a call one day that Paul had died. I wasn't surprised, but still that sucked for the people he left behind, his family, etc. Well, now the glitch. And I kind of just buried this, or wrote it off as a coincidence or not possible, being as it was before I had even heard of Glitch in the Matrix. But after visiting my sister in a nearby town, I made my way back home and I was due to pass my old workplace, which had since moved, but nonetheless, I was headed down that street. And I saw Paul on his 10-speed, heading the opposite way down the other side of the street. I looked up, saw him, and I kid you not, he waved at me. It couldn't be, he was dead, so I shook it off and put it behind me, until I was thinking about your show and was thinking that I hadn't had any glitches. Come to think of it, if anybody would have found a way, and would enthusiastically wave at me after he'd made it to the other side, it was Paul. Anyway, I seem to have burst the bubble of glitches, cause now I have a couple more, so stay tuned. So, to start off this story, I want to give context. I live next to a park in Dublin. I've lived here my whole life. Another thing is that this story includes an ex-girlfriend of mine, but not the ex-girlfriend that I've brought up before on Raven's streams, so no need to worry if anybody's aware of her. Also, apologies for bad grammar, I'm writing this late at night. This is a story from when she and I were 12. It was probably about 11:30 at night in winter. That's a bad idea to begin with. I have a really good tolerance for cold, but my ex absolutely couldn't stand it. It was her idea to head out. I guess she thought the two of us walking together would be romantic, but It was mostly just me asking if she wanted to head home. As we were walking, we found ourselves going in circles. The park had multiple entrances. For a quick rundown, it was a car park that led to a massive rectangle of grass on the short side, and a dog park. And then over a river was another rectangle on with its long side to the first one's short side, much larger than the other, with an exit that led to my square, the Irish version of a block, on the side with the car park. Another one was directly across from the car park, and two others on the small sides with trees scattered around that basically shielded it from the rest of the estate. But, importantly for this story, are the inclusions of a skate park on the second grass square's short side, away from the first grass square, and multiple giant metal crates near it. As we were walking, we just looked around, getting tired. We passed the skate park and heard some teenagers in it talking as we looped around the park. The park is about 20 to 30 minutes to walk the full length, and we passed it again. I noticed that we passed it again and checked my phone. The time was 11:40, the time we would have reached the skate park initially, and I was so confused. It should be at least midnight, but no time had passed for us. We checked my ex's phone and nothing was out of the ordinary. We continued again, passing it again. I checked the phone again and saw the time still read 11:40. We looked into the skate park and there were 4 people in it. I took a mental note as we went around again. The time was 11:40, and there were now 5 people. Before we could assume anything, one of the teens said something along the lines of, "Alright, I've got to get home," before they walked away, then leaving us with 4. We continued again. 11:40. 5 people, 1 left, leaving us with 4. We repeated this again, and the same thing happened. We should have been more worried, but this was too interesting to just ignore. We're both atheistic or agnostic, so religions and magic aren't our whole thing, so we wanted to get a scientific explanation for this. We bounced a few ideas around, like hallucinations or our phones just being wrong, while the teenagers coincidentally had someone show up and leave as we came around to some sort of metaphysical time anomaly or something. We decided to keep track of something that we could change. Passing by the skate park again, we found a rock and picked it up. She went over to one of the metal crates, scratched into the paint on it, which was some racist graffiti, and we walked past it. We walked by again, and the paint not only had no sign of being scratched, but it was completely different. It was now a smiley face with X eyes. We tried again, scratching it, and walking again. Looking at it once more, when we walked by, the image had changed, now depicting a giant shamrock. We were sufficiently freaked out. But when we looked back, we saw the teenagers were no longer in the skate park despite the time being 11:40. We decided to try to investigate a little more. What if we stopped and checked the time before we went around? What if we tried going backwards? But the same thing happened. 11:40, new paint on the crates, and 1 teen leaving a group of 5. And then, when we looked back, there was nothing there. As we kept going, we felt tired and hungry and then decided to leave. We looked for the exit near the skate park, but we could not find it. We checked the next one, but nothing. The next one was also not there. We went around again and again, but we found trees and bushes where the exit should have been. We kept going, not wanting to give up, but my mind felt like it was going numb. My ex's legs started to feel tired, so I picked her up and started carrying her. She was much smaller in size to me, so I could lift her almost effortlessly. I kept going for what felt like a day or 2, and as I continued, I felt very tired and so done. I took out my phone and saw that the time was 11:45. We were near the skate park, and looking back, I saw the teens again. I just turned around and ran home. I didn't look back. I felt like if I did, something bad would happen. We got to my house, my parents were out, and I just got her into my bed, cuddled her in, and went to make myself some tea to relax. I watched the electric kettle for a moment, thinking about what had happened. After a moment, I looked away and grabbed a mug, only for the kettle to click, meaning it was boiled. They say a watched pot never boils. I know it's just a saying, but what if we were being watched? And whatever it was took its eyes off of us just long enough for us not to be trapped. She and I broke up, but we are still good friends. We don't talk about that night, and she seems to have almost forgotten about it, but I remember it. And I wonder what happened. How did it happen? And if I didn't check my phone at that time, would we have been able to leave? Hi, Raven. My mom and I listened to your stories on the way into work. Thank you. I've had these dreams before something happens to an animal and occasionally a person that I care about, and these stories will just be about the animals. The first one happened when I turned 13. I had a horse that would pass on. I was staying at my father's house, and the horse was at my mom's house. It was Friday, July 21st, and I couldn't sleep. I was incredibly anxious and had an overwhelming feeling that something was about to go wrong. I finally fell asleep around midnight to 1 a.m. When I dreamed, it was that my horse had been running through the pasture and fallen. And then suddenly we were in a meadow that I had never seen, and he was running and playing. I then woke up to my mom calling me and telling me that he'd passed away. In that same year, right after I turned 13, I had been given a horse from a family friend who was moving. I had a hard time falling asleep one night, and then, when I did, I dreamed that this horse had been put on a walker, which is a machine that guides a horse in circles. In this dream, while he was on the walker, his legs got caught in the rope, and he went down, unable to get back up. I woke up the next morning and went to school, and during my lunch, my mom called me to tell me that he had gone down in the pasture and that they'd rushed him to a vet. He had to stay at the vet several days, but came home and I still have him. When I was 18, I bought a horse. A few months after I bought him, I had a hard time falling asleep again one night, and when I finally did, I had a dream. In this dream, he got hurt running through a fence and had gashes across his side. When I woke up, I didn't make it to the barn until early to mid-afternoon. When I got down there, he had colicked, which is where a horse's stomach twisted, due to the fact that they can't throw up, and gone through a stall fence and was stuck down. I got him up and he ended up at the vet for several days where they removed at least 60 liters of fluid from his stomach. He is okay now. When I was 21, I had a 10-year-old dog. She had an abscess on her side and was incredibly sick. I told her the night before this happened that it was okay to go and that I understood. We went to bed where I placed her on her favorite pillow on the opposite side of my bed than me, and I had a hard time falling asleep, but eventually did. When I dreamed that night, I saw her as she had been when I'd fallen asleep, and then suddenly she was a puppy again, joyful and playing with a dog that I had lost when I was 15. When I woke the next morning, she had passed and was pressed against my side, having sought me out in her last moments. There are several more of these moments that I've had, but these are the most memorable. And as always, my friend, that was this week's collection of Glitch in the Matrix stories. I don't want to say what I always say. I feel like I always say the same thing. I don't like doing that, so let's talk about breakfast. What'd you have for breakfast? Go ahead and tell me right now. Uh-huh. Okay. Oh. Well, that sounds awesome, and hopefully whatever you said was long enough to fill in that whole space. Otherwise, you said something short like biscuits, and I said, uh-huh, okay, interesting, and you were already done speaking, so it makes me look really rude like I'm not paying attention to what you're saying. I promise. I hope your breakfast was good. I hope you enjoyed it. My breakfast today, on Sunday the 10th, yep, I recorded these before Monday, was a yogurt granola mix with strawberry and dragon fruit. I bought a dragon fruit from Cub, and it was huge. I also had 2 smaller dragon fruits from Hy-Vee that were orange, so the orange ones are actually sweeter than the regular pink ones. And they have larger seeds, which is interesting, but they're good. They're tasty. They're actually really good, so I enjoyed it. Mixing it with strawberry and yogurt and granola was a very good idea. Made for a very good breakfast, in my opinion. It was filling and refreshing. Because dragon fruit's very refreshing if it's cold, so I don't know. If you've never had dragon fruit and want to try it, I do recommend it. Just get one, and just know that it's not very sweet. Like, it is a cactus fruit, and as such, it's not super, like, sweet. So, very watery, but very high in fiber and vitamin C and potassium, so good for, like, electrolytes if you have an electrolyte issue. They're really good for that. Anyways, that was this week's Glitch in the Matrix collection. Hopefully y'all enjoyed them. If you did, please do hit that like button on the video. If you're new to the channel and liked what you heard, kind of mix those two up there. Consider subscribing. That helps the channel a lot. You can join Patreon memberships, get early access to content like this. Go to astheravendreams.com to send in your story. Find me on all the social media platforms there as well. And there's a thing at the bottom of the page where you can check out the podcast in long format and all the other platforms I'm on. Yeah. During Glitch in the Matrix Monday videos, I do what we call the word of the week. Basically, I give you all a word, you take the word, use it in a comment, I screenshot the comment and put it at the end of the next week's Glitch video. I try to get them all. I do miss them sometimes, and whenever I miss them, I sincerely apologize. What I do is I go to YouTube Studio, I go to comments, and I scroll through and read every single comment that gets posted on the video, and I use ShareX to screenshot them. That's ShareX, SHAREX. I screenshot them individually. Sometimes I look over them, I go to screenshot it, the screenshot fails for whatever reason, I don't realize it. It has happened before. ShareX is a great tool, but like if you do like screenshot section and accidentally right-click instead of left-click, which I could be doing with my very large mouse here. I have a trackball that's... specifically, it's an Elecom Huge. Yeah, I know it's a silly name, but it's an interesting mouse, and I love it. Anyways, I screw up sometimes, so... The bigger point is, on the screen right now, in prior to now, is a collection of all the screenshots of all the comments from last week's Glitch in the Matrix video. To each and every single person on the screen right now, I say thank you so very much. Probably should move on. I've been talking a lot. This week, the word of the week is savory. So remember how I said that dragon fruit isn't very sweet? It's also not savory, so that was a terrible segue. Savory means pleasant to the mind, morally exemplary or edifying, pleasing to the sense of taste or smell, especially by reason of effective seasoning, having a spicy or salty quality without sweetness, or being inducing or marked by the rich or meaty taste of umami. So... popcorn. Anyways, friends, hope you all have a great day. Hope I see you again here very soon. But until then, remember, you are loved, you are valid, you are important, you're the best that you can be, and the world is a better place with you in it. So I hope to see you again soon. But until then, much love, and sleep well.